Hi there everyone, and welcome to TechCravers. As you all probably already know, there are a ton of different Nintendo Switch controllers out there, both from Nintendo themselves and from a bunch of third-party developers, some which are more popular than others. But there's also one that every Switch player and retro-loving gamer out there have been speaking about lately, and that is the Nixie WaveBird wireless controller for Nintendo Switch. The reason for that being that it looks like something that we know and love from before. Yeah, you guessed it already. The good old Nintendo GameCube controller, or as I have here, the wireless WaveBird version of the GameCube controller. So the Nixie WaveBird is simply a GameCube style controller that can be used both wirelessly as an actual controller or attached to your Switch as Joy-Cons. But Nixie promises more than just a cool form factor and the looks and feel of playing an old GameCube controller. The WaveBird is actually packed with exciting features which Nintendo probably should have looked into themselves. So in this video I thought we will go through these features, and also I will give you my overall first impressions of the controller, and finally also let you know whether I think it's worth your money or not. So without any further delay, let's jump into it. Okay, so the Nixie WaveBird wireless controller arrives in a nicely packaged box that feels sturdy and oozes quality. But remember, that's the box and we don't know anything about the inside yet. On the back we get a better glimpse of the features I mentioned earlier. We get the popular Hall effect joysticks that won't ever develop any joystick drifting. Instant triggers are also listed as a feature, however I'd say that this is up to personal preference whether you prefer it or not. I like some travel to my triggers, but the super long travel on the original GameCube controller never was a favorite of mine. The A, B, X and Y buttons are backlit, which is always nice, and we also get two buttons on the back of the controller which can be mapped on the fly. For some weird reason, however, the two turbo buttons marked with a T on the controller are not mentioned as a feature. If we open the box, we'll find the controller itself, a small project manual, two extra Joy-Con rings that can be swapped out with the ones already on the controller, and a USB-C charging cable. And now to the controller itself, and my first impression is that it's made of pretty cheap and lightweight plastic. It's not straight out bad, but I wouldn't mind if it was a bit heavier in my hands. The rails on each Joy-Con that is used to slide them onto your Switch screen feels like they could break if you were to drop your controller, however. And the middle plastic thing that you can use to attach your Joy-Cons into a controller feels like it was 3D printed by myself. However, the lightweight aside and attached to your Nintendo Switch screen, they actually feel pretty solid. And if you can live with the fact that your Switch setup is now absolutely massive, it will make for a pretty unique experience. And all the buttons and the joysticks feel quite nice as well, feeling soft and smooth when you press them, and the response is snappy and quick. And one of the really cool features that the WaveBird offers, and as I mentioned earlier that they don't display on the box, is the turbo functionality, which is surprisingly easy to set up. You just hold down the turbo button and then the button you want the turbo functionality for. And there's actually two turbo modes. The first one is the regular turbo where you hold down the button, and then there's a second turbo mode that will keep spamming the button without you having to press it down. And there's also a macro functionality, and you can macro button combinations to the controller's back buttons that could give you a massive boost in some fighting games, etc. So overall the controller definitely has some really great features that definitely justifies the $70 price tag. But wait! Nixie was actually kind enough to let me give you a 10% discount if you use the code TechCravers at checkout. So the more you buy, the more you save. So shout out to Nixie for doing that, but keep calm, I will still give you my honest opinion at the end of this video. And in case you were wondering, yes, the controller have built-in gyro as well, which works pretty good in games that support it. Keep in mind though that all these features that I have been talking about will drain some extra battery, and battery is something that you probably want to hold on to. Each Joy-Con will last for about 8 hours when fully charged, compared to the 70 hours you will get from the official Pro controller from Nintendo, or the 20 hours you will get in the original Joy-Cons. But now to something that I know that many of you wonder. How does it compare both in feel and noise to the original GameCube controller or WaveBird as I have here? First off, the analog triggers, which is pretty much the noisiest buttons on a controller ever. And no, I have not tinkered with the sound settings, it's just such a big difference both in sound and feel because of the different travel length. For the face buttons, however, it's pretty much the other way around, and even if the Nixie WaveBird doesn't sound extremely loud, it's definitely louder than my WaveBird controller. The C-stick sounds about the same on both, but the big difference here is that it's much bigger and resembles a regular thumbstick on the Nixie WaveBird, and it's up to your personal preference which you prefer. The D-pad on the WaveBird is small but quite mushy, while the D-pad on the Nixie Wizard is much bigger but also more clicky. Once again, it's gonna be up to you what you prefer in a D-pad. Personally, I have always thought that the original D-pad was a bit too small, but I also don't like the clicky type on the Wizard. Tough call. And there you have it. It's time to wrap things up from here. In my personal view, the Wizard is an exceptional controller that offers a sense of familiarity and boasts a plethora of fantastic features that can significantly enhance your gaming experience. While I don't consider myself a competitive Smash player, I won't delve into the pros and cons of its suitability for that style of gameplay. However, when it comes to casual gaming and having a blast, this controller truly delivers. After putting it to test for several weeks though, a couple of drawbacks did catch my eye. The battery life is on the shorter side and there's an overall plastic feel to it. But as I mentioned in the video, once it's snugly attached to your Switch screen, it feels secure and comfortable. So if you're in the market for a new controller, I highly recommend taking a closer look at the Nixie Wizard. What's even better, if you decide to make a purchase, don't forget to check out the 10% discount code in the video description. And with that being said, it's been a pleasure having you here. Thanks for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to show your support by liking and leaving a comment. Stay tuned for more exciting content, and until next time, happy gaming!